Have you ever heard of an old PC game called The Theater? Yeah, I didn't think so. Probably because many people say it doesn't even exist. You see, The Theater's an old computer game released around the same time as Doom. Today, if you ever find it, it's only available on crappy bootleg CD-ROMs, which more than often not don't even actually contain the game. The actual legitimate copies that they say were released back in the day featured a blank cover with nothing but the sprite of what has since been named the Ticket Taker. He's a simply poorly drawn, pixelated Caucasian bald man with large red lips wearing a red vest over a white shirt and black pants. He is completely emotionless, though some say that if you smash the disc, his face is shown as angry the next time you look at the cover. But this may be just dismissed as an urban myth. What is peculiar about the theater, though, is that there's no developer name on the jewel case, nor a game description on the back. It is simply the ticket taker on a white backdrop on both sides. The game is intentionally known for its inability to install correctly. The installation process immediately locks up the computer when it reaches the licensing agreement. Also, about the licensing agreement for the theater is that whenever the development studio is supposed to be named, the text is simply a blank line. Anyways, most people claim to own one of the original CDs say that they figured out how to install the game by simply rebooting their computer on the licensing agreement with the disc still inside. Then they are prompted to press agree upon startup. They continue with this installation. The game then starts up without any introduction besides a main menu that is simply the sprite of a movie theater's exterior on an empty city street. The title fades in, and then the three menu options New Game, Load, and Options appear. Selecting Options immediately crashes the game to the desktop. Load is said simply not to function at all. Even if you do have a save game, nothing happens when you press it. Thus, New Game is the only working menu option. Once it is selected, you are in the first-person view. You are standing in an empty movie theater lobby, with the exception of the ticket taker standing in front of a dark hallway, which one can only assume leads to the theaters themselves. There's nothing to do but look at the poorly drawn, mostly illegible movie posters, or approach the ticket taker. Once the player moves towards the ticket taker, a very low quality sound clip plays saying thank you. Please enjoy the movie. Along with that, a speech box saying the same thing. You then walk into the hallway and the screen fades to black, and you're back in the empty lobby and you do the same exact thing again and again and again. While this may sound like a really horrible game, a number of peculiar things occur as you continue to play it. The number of times that you have to continue into the hall after giving your ticket to the ticket taker before the strange events even happen is unknown. Most state that it is completely random and that it could take anywhere from the first playthrough to the 400th. What happens, though, has deeply disturbed some players. The first occurrence is when the player fades back into the lobby after walking into the hallway. This time they will notice that the ticket taker is completely absent. The player then, without any other options, decides to walk into the dark hallway. The sound clip and text box mentioned previously still play in the absence of the ticket taker, but when the player walks into the hallways, the screen does not fade out. It goes to pitch black as they walk deeper and deeper into the hall, but the player's footsteps still could be heard as they are continuing to push the up button on their keyboard. Those claiming to have played the original game report to have felt extremely uncomfortable walking down the hallway, anticipating the whole way something horrible happening. Well, eventually the player is unable to move forward. There's nothing for a few moments before a strange sprite that is described as the ticket taker but with a swirl for a face appears and stands before the player. The original players of the game say that their bodies immediately froze up and their stomach churned when they saw the sprite, which has been appropriately named the Swirly Head Man. Nothing happens as the Swirly Head Man stands before them. Then suddenly a piercing screech plays as the game glitches out. This lasts for a few minutes, with the screeching beginning continuous. Then the player is abruptly returned to the lobby, with all the sounds and graphics being as they should be. The game continues normally for the next couple of cycles of entering the hallway, with a couple of the original players claiming the Swirly Head Man would briefly appear and disappear in the corner of the screen as a brisk yelp sound effect plays. Then at some point after meeting the Swirly Head Man, the player sees the ticket taker pacing back and forth. Though there is no walking animation, the sprite's limbs are just completely static, so he just hops up and down slightly as a substitute, with his eyes being wide and his mouth open, stimulating a worried facial expression. Some players noted that the movie posters had been replaced with images of the Swirly Head Man, which caused them to immediately turn their character's head away from the posters and approach the ticket taker. Then another different low-quality sound clip plays, but the speech box contains nothing but corrupted characters that cause whatever text that would have been in the box to be completely illegible. Due to the extremely low quality of the sound, it is debated by players what exactly is the ticket taker saying at this point, though it has been widely agreed that he said never reach the other levels. Then the screen fades out and once again returns the player to the starting point in the lobby, but the ticket taker is gone, and the hallway is blocked by a large brick wall sprite. Touching the brick wall will crash the game, and there's nothing, and that is all there to it. No one knows what the other levels are, or how to gain access to them. Nor is it known why the Swirly Head Man causes such a acute fear in those who have seen him in the game. All the original copies of the theater have either been lost or destroyed, but the creepiest part is the fact that it's all the original players of the game claim to occasionally see a brief glimpse of the Swirly Head Man out of the corner of their eye.